Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ange if you haven't met me before, and today we're gonna do some propagating. Ooh, so I'm so excited. I'm bored at home and I thought what better way to kill the time than to just cut up some plants. So I was looking at my Monstera Siltepecana and it hangs right above my toilet. So TMI, but when you sit on the toilet, you're kind of getting hit with these massive vines. So I thought it's probably time to give it a bit of a haircut. So this is what it looks like. So we've got woo, and we're gonna go up and up and up and up and up. Okay, so that's the end. So it is quite a large girl. And I actually started this from a cutting. So when I purchased this plant, I got it as a 2-leaf cutting on one stem. So it was pretty much just like this chunk here. And over the past, I'd say less than a year, it has grown massive. So I think that it's time to give her a bit of a haircut. I know this isn't the best time of the year for me to be doing this. We're in the winter time, but it's not actually too cold inside. So I'm just gonna take my chances, see how it goes. I thought I would start off with maybe some little care requirements for this guy. So it is a Monstera. It's part of your Monstera family, similar to your Monstera deliciosas that we all know, but this one is a little bit different. It is more of a vining plant and it's got smaller leaves, but it has these gorgeous leaves. Look at that silver, and it's kind of veiny, and it's just gorgeous. Look at this massive leaf here. It is stunning. So there's two kinds of Monstera Siltepecana. There's your normal Siltepecana, and then there's apparently an El Salvador version which has more silver and it's a bit chunkier. I have a feeling this might be the El Salvador version, but I'm not 100% sure. So if you know if it's normal or if it's El Salvador, then definitely let me know. I keep this guy in my bathroom, which is like a southwest window. So it does get quite a lot of bright indirect light during the day, and then it gets some afternoon sun hitting the window. I keep it about 1 or 2 feet back from the window, and I do find that the added humidity in here makes this guy grow so quickly. I think that after I added a lot more humidity to this plant, it started making these chunky, aerial roots because they're just looking for somewhere to go. You can see that the leaves coming down are getting a bit smaller because it doesn't really have anywhere to climb onto. So that's why I'm thinking chopping it, propping it up, and maybe at some point I'll have a really nice full plant that I can trail and it's gonna be gorgeous. For watering, I let this guy completely dry out, like 99%, and then I will give it a thorough soaking. I don't find that it dries out too quickly. I'm probably watering it about once a week, once every week and a half-ish for this guy, and it's only in a tiny, tiny pot. So it's not a super thirsty plant. I just find it so easy to grow. So if you haven't got one yet, I would definitely get your hands on one of these. Let's start propagating. I'm thinking I probably want to cut it to about here, and then I'll have these long vines to propagate, just so it's not dangling everywhere and hitting me in the face when I go to the bathroom. So you want to grab clean scissors. These are freshly washed, and I'm just going to cut off from where I want to start propagating. So when you're looking at the vine, this area here where the leaf is coming out is called a node. This little guy coming out of the node is an aerial root, and this part is just the internode or a bit of stem. So I'm going to cut the vine as close to the node as possible. So just here. So now I have my plant here, and this whole section I'm going to be propagating. So I like to do my vining plants as 1 node cuttings. So that pretty much means having 1 node for 1 propagation. I think that I have a higher chance of more of them surviving. So from the cut side, I'm now going to cut as close to this node as possible. Just like that. And now you can see we've got 1 leaf and 1 node. But this part here, this whole stem is useless. We don't need it. So I'm going to cut that off. So now we've got 1 little cutting. So let's do that for the next one. Cutting off this because we don't need that. And there we go. We've got another cutting. Cutting off that trash. Another cutting. So this part of the stem that had the new growth point, I'm actually going to leave it with 2 leaves on it because this new leaf is quite juvenile and there's not going to be as much success with your propagation. So I'm going to keep this part all together so it can root up just like that. Now we're going to do the next vine in the pot. So I'm going to cut it about the same length, so about here. Cutting it as close to that node as I can. Whoop. Now we're going to do the same thing on this stem. We don't need that, so we're going to chop that off. We've got one cutting there. Getting rid of that internodal space. Another cutting here. Getting rid of that internode, another cutting there. Oh my gosh, look at this aerial root. It is going crazy. That is going to root up really quickly. And same deal with this tip cutting. I'm going to keep 1 extra leaf on it so it just looks like that. So these are all the little plants I have. So each one of these little nodes can create its own new plant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop these guys in water and wait for them to grow roots. All right, so I've popped them into a little glass of water and you can see that all of the nodes and aerial roots are submerged. So you want to keep them submerged or they will dry out and die. And then you can either just top up the water when it gets low or change the water out. I like to change the water about once a week just to let some fresh oxygen kind of be in there and it won't grow any algae because nobody wants algae. I would say in about 2 months, these guys will be ready to pot into the mother plant. And I'm going to have a really full pot. I thought while I was here, I'm going to propagate this Heartleaf Philodendron too. It's just getting a bit long and a bit, I don't know, not my cup of tea, so I'm just going to cut that now. And see how long these are. These leaves are teeny tiny as well because this one's in a bit more of a low light situation. So I'm just going to cut it off pretty much where the teeny tiny leaf starts. So right here, I'm just going to cut that off as close to the node as possible. And we've got this as a cutting. I'm going to trim off all these little guys as close to the node as I can. And it might be scary to cut your plants, but it's actually going to force the plant to create new growth. And it's just going to look a lot more bushy and healthy. So don't be afraid to cut plants. They will grow back. It's not a big deal. All right, so I've given this guy a haircut. It's looking a lot cuter, a little bit less spindly. So these guys, I'm not going to cut into 1 node cuttings. I'm just going to put the 1 node that I have into water and hope that roots up. Hello! But I would say you have less of a chance of survival if you do that. So if you're worried about losing the cutting, I would not do this. I just don't really care if I lose these or not. So we're going to see how it goes. So there we go, I have them in a little water jar. Hopefully it's not going to take too long for them to root up and then I can pop them back into the other pot. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it was a little short one, but I thought I'd take you guys along with me while I propagate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely press the thumbs up. And if you haven't already, then click subscribe because I post 2 plant videos every single week and I will see you guys in my next one. All right, bye.